Welcome back to our channel, where we dive deep into the timeless stories of the Bible to uncover profound lessons that still resonate today. Have you ever wondered how a single decision can change the course of history, or how faith and determination can shape the destiny of a nation? Today, we're exploring the incredible story of Rebekah, the wife of Isaac, a woman whose bold actions and unwavering faith played a pivotal role in God's grand plan. Rebekah's journey is one filled with faith, love, conflict, and divine intervention. From her humble beginnings at the well to becoming the mother of nations, Rebekah's life is a testament to how God's promises unfold in the lives of those who trust Him. But her story is not without challenges. The decisions she made and the conflicts she faced reveal the complexity of following God's will, even when the path seems uncertain. This isn't just a story from the past. It's a narrative that holds powerful lessons for us today. So, if you're ready to discover how Rebekah's legacy continues to inspire and what it means for your own faith journey, stick with us until the end. We promise you'll leave with insights that could transform how you see God's work in your life. If you find this content meaningful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories, and share this message with others who need to hear it. Your comments and thoughts are important to us, so feel free to share them below. Let's spread the wisdom together and grow in faith as a community. Now, let's dive into the story of Rebekah, the woman who became a cornerstone in God's divine plan. Rebekah's story is intricately woven into the fabric of God's covenant with Abraham, a covenant that promised descendants as numerous as the stars and the establishment of a great nation through his lineage. As Abraham advanced in years, his concern for securing a godly wife for his son Isaac became paramount. He knew that for the covenant to continue, Isaac must marry a woman who shared their faith and values. Therefore, Abraham tasked his most trusted servant, likely Eliezer of Damascus, with the critical mission of finding a suitable bride, ensuring that Isaac did not marry a Canaanite woman, as the Canaanites were known for their idolatry and immoral practices. Genesis chapter 24 verses 3-4. I want you to swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that you will not get a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I am living, but will go to my country and my own relatives and get a wife for my son Isaac. The specificity of Abraham's instructions underscores the importance of maintaining the purity of faith and obedience to God's commands. This was not just about finding any wife for Isaac, but finding the right one, someone who would be part of God's unfolding plan. Abraham's insistence on choosing a bride from his own kin was rooted in the belief that they would share the same faith in the one true God, unlike the Canaanites who were steeped in pagan worship. The servant, aware of the gravity of his mission, sought God's guidance in prayer, asking for a clear and unmistakable sign to identify the woman God had chosen for Isaac. This prayer is a powerful demonstration of the servant's faith and his reliance on God's providence. Genesis chapter 24 verses 12-14. Then he prayed, Lord God of my master Abraham, make me successful today and show kindness to my master Abraham. See, I'm standing beside this spring, and the daughters of the townspeople are coming out to draw water. May it be that when I say to a young woman, please let down your jar that I may have a drink, and she says, drink and I'll water your camels too, let her be the one you have chosen for your servant Isaac. By this, I will know that you have shown kindness to my master. This specific request was not arbitrary. It was a test of character, revealing whether the woman would be not only kind but also generous, diligent, and hospitable, qualities that were essential for the wife of the patriarch of a great nation. The servant's prayer is answered almost immediately, as Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel and granddaughter of Nahor, appears at the well. Rebekah's response to the servant's request for water showcases her exceptional qualities. She not only quickly offers him a drink, but also goes above and beyond by watering his camels, a task that would have been labor-intensive and time-consuming, as a single camel could drink up to 25 gallons of water after a long journey. Genesis chapter 24 verses 18-20. Drink, my lord, she said, and quickly lowered the jar to her hands and gave him a drink. After she had given him a drink, she said, "I'll draw water for your camels too, until they have had enough to drink." So she quickly emptied her jar into the trough, ran back to the well to draw more water, and drew enough for all his camels. Rebekah's actions reveal her true character. She is not only beautiful, but also hard-working, generous, and selfless. These traits make her an ideal choice for Isaac, reflecting the kind of woman who would contribute positively to the fulfillment of God's covenant. The servant, astonished and grateful, immediately recognizes God's hand in this encounter. He bows down and worships the Lord, acknowledging his faithfulness in leading him directly to Rebekah, the chosen bride for Isaac. Genesis chapter 24, verses 26 to 27. Then the man bowed down and worshipped the Lord, saying, "Praise be to the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who has not abandoned his kindness and faithfulness to my master. As for me, the Lord has led me on the journey to the house of my master's relatives." This moment is significant, as it not only confirms Rebekah's role in God's plan, but also highlights the importance of seeking and following God's guidance in life's critical decisions. Rebekah's willingness to serve a stranger so generously is a testament to her upbringing and her own faith in God, setting the stage for her future role as the wife of Isaac and the mother of Jacob and Esau. Rebekah's selection as Isaac's bride was not by chance, but by divine appointment. Her actions at the well were a clear answer to prayer, showing that she possessed the qualities needed to continue the covenantal promise through Isaac. Rebekah's introduction into the story of Abraham's family is a powerful reminder of how God orchestrates events and relationships to fulfill his divine purposes. Now, let's explore further about Rebekah's marriage to Isaac. Rebekah's willingness to leave her home and family behind to marry Isaac is a profound testament to her faith, trust, and obedience to God's plan. In the ancient world, leaving one's family and homeland was a significant decision, especially for a young woman. It required immense courage and a strong belief that God was leading her to a greater purpose. Rebekah's affirmative response to her family's inquiry about going with the servant is brief but powerful. Genesis chapter 24, verse 58. So they called Rebekah and asked her, "Will you go with this man?" "I will go," she said. This simple yet resolute declaration, "I will go," speaks volumes about Rebekah's character. It shows her willingness to embrace the unknown, trusting in God's provision, and the integrity of the servant who represented her future with Isaac. Rebekah's decision mirrors the journey of faith that Abraham himself took when he left his homeland in obedience to God's call, highlighting a recurring theme of trusting God's plan despite uncertainty. The Bible emphasizes that this journey was not just a physical relocation, but a spiritual one as well. Rebekah was stepping into a divinely ordained role, becoming the wife of Isaac, the son of promise, through whom God would fulfill his covenant with Abraham. The magnitude of this decision is underscored by the blessing given to Rebekah by her family as she departs. Genesis chapter 24, verse 60. And they blessed Rebekah and said to her, "Our sister, may you increase to thousands upon thousands. May your offspring possess the cities of their enemies." This blessing echoes the promises God made to Abraham, further confirming Rebekah's integral role in God's plan to create a great nation. Her journey to meet Isaac was a step toward the fulfillment of these promises. When Rebekah finally meets Isaac, the Bible describes the encounter with touching simplicity. Isaac, who had been meditating in the fields, looks up and sees the caravan approaching. Upon learning that the woman approaching is his future wife, Isaac takes Rebekah into the tent of his mother, Sarah, and marries her. Genesis chapter 24, verse 64 to 67. Rebekah also looked up and saw Isaac. She got down from her camel and asked the servant, "Who is that man in the field coming to meet us?" "He is my master," the servant answered. So she took her veil and covered herself. Then the servant told Isaac all he had done. Isaac brought her into the tent of his mother Sarah, and he married Rebekah. So she became his wife, and he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. This passage beautifully illustrates the beginning of Isaac and Rebekah's relationship. The act of Isaac bringing Rebekah into his mother's tent symbolizes her taking on the mantle of matriarch, a position of honor and responsibility. It also reflects the deep emotional bond that quickly developed between them. Isaac's love for Rebekah and the comfort he finds in her presence highlight the significance of this union, not only as a fulfillment of God's promise, but also as a source of personal healing and connection for Isaac. Rebekah's role as Isaac's wife also carries the legacy of Sarah, the first matriarch of Israel. By bringing Rebekah into Sarah's tent, Isaac acknowledges her as the new matriarch, responsible for carrying forward the covenantal blessings and guiding the next generation. This symbolic act establishes Rebekah's place within the family lineage and the broader narrative of God's people. The bond between Isaac and Rebekah is further emphasized in the Bible by their shared experiences and challenges. Despite the cultural norms of the time, where marriages were often more about alliances than affection, Isaac's love for Rebekah is distinctly highlighted. This mutual love and respect laid the foundation for their marriage, which played a crucial role in the continuation of God's covenant with Abraham. The New Testament also reflects on the significance of marriage as a divine institution. Paul, in his letter to the Ephesians, writes about the sanctity of marriage and the love that should exist between husband and wife, which can be seen in Isaac and Rebekah's relationship. Ephesians chapter 5 verses 31 to 33. For this reason a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. This is a profound mystery, but I am talking about Christ and the church. However, each one of you also must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband. Isaac and Rebekah's marriage exemplifies this ideal of love and unity, setting a pattern for future generations. Their relationship, grounded in mutual love, respect, and faith, serves as a model for how marriage can be a source of comfort, strength, and divine blessing. Now, let's discover further about Rebekah's struggle with barrenness. Rebekah's struggle with barrenness is a recurring theme in the Bible, where many women chosen by God face the challenge of being unable to conceive. This period of waiting often becomes a profound spiritual journey, testing the faith of those involved, and ultimately highlighting God's power and timing. In Rebekah's case, the 20 years of barrenness would have been a time of deep sorrow and uncertainty, both for her and Isaac. In the cultural context of the time, childbearing was seen as a key role for women, and infertility could bring shame and social stigma. Despite this challenge, Isaac's response is a model of faith and devotion. Rather than succumbing to despair, Isaac turns to God in prayer, interceding on behalf of his wife. His prayer is an act of deep love and faith, demonstrating his trust in God's promises and his belief that God would fulfill his covenant through their descendants. Genesis chapter 25 verse 21. Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was childless. The Lord answered his prayer, and his wife Rebekah became pregnant. Isaac's prayer reflects his understanding of God's promises to Abraham, that through his offspring, a great nation would arise. Isaac's faith in these promises is unwavering, and he knows that only God can open Rebekah's womb. His prayer is not just a request, but a declaration of his reliance on God's faithfulness. This theme of barrenness and divine intervention is seen elsewhere in the Bible, notably with Sarah, Isaac's mother, and later with Hannah, the mother of Samuel. In each case, God's intervention is a reminder that he is the giver of life and that his plans will be fulfilled in his perfect timing. Psalm chapter 113 verse 9. He settles the childless woman in her home as a happy mother of children. Praise the Lord. This verse from Psalms captures the essence of God's ability to transform sorrow into joy, a reality that Rebekah would soon experience. When God answers Isaac's prayer, it is not with a single child, but with twins, a double blessing that would play a significant role in the unfolding of God's plan. However, Rebekah's pregnancy is not without its challenges. The Bible describes a physical struggle within her womb, a situation that causes her great distress. Confused and concerned about what is happening, Rebekah does what any person of faith would do. She seeks the Lord. Genesis chapter 25, verse 22. The babies jostled each other within her, and she said, "Why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord. Rebekah's decision to seek God's guidance during this difficult time shows her deep faith and reliance on God's wisdom. In response, God reveals a significant prophecy about the two nations that will come from her sons and the destiny that awaits them. Genesis chapter 25, verse 23. The Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two peoples from within you will be separated. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger." This prophecy is profound, as it not only foretells the future of her sons, Esau and Jacob, but also sets the stage for the complex and often contentious relationship between them. The declaration that the older will serve the younger goes against the cultural norm of primogeniture, where the firstborn son typically held the rights of inheritance and leadership. This reversal of roles underscores the theme that God's ways are not bound by human customs or expectations. God's plans often defy conventional wisdom, emphasizing His sovereignty and the fulfillment of His divine purposes. Rebekah's experience during her pregnancy also reflects the broader biblical theme of struggle and conflict as part of the journey toward God's promises. Just as Rebekah felt the jostling within her womb, so too would her descendants experience struggle and conflict, both within their family and with surrounding nations. Yet, through it all, God's purposes would prevail. The struggle within Rebekah's womb can also be seen as a metaphor for the spiritual battles that often accompany God's promises. In the New Testament, Paul speaks about the struggle between the flesh and the spirit, a theme that can be loosely connected to the inner turmoil Rebekah experienced, as it foreshadowed the future spiritual and physical conflicts between her sons. Galatians chapter 5, verse 17, "For the flesh desires what is contrary to the spirit, and the spirit what is contrary to the flesh. They are in conflict with each other, so that you are not to do whatever you want." While this verse speaks to the internal conflict within believers, it mirrors the struggle within Rebekah's womb, a tangible expression of the deeper spiritual and physical conflicts that would unfold in her family's history. Now, let's explore further about the birth of Esau and Jacob. The birth of Esau and Jacob marks a pivotal moment in Rebekah's life and in the broader narrative of the Bible. These twins, though born at the same time, would lead very different lives, embodying contrasting characteristics that would eventually shape the history of Israel. The Bible provides a detailed description of the boys from birth, emphasizing the stark differences between them. Esau, the firstborn, is immediately noted for his physical appearance. He is red, and his body is like a hairy garment, which leads to his name, Esau, meaning hairy. His rugged appearance is a precursor to his lifestyle. Esau grows up to become a skillful hunter, a man of the field who enjoys the outdoors and the thrill of the hunt. Genesis chapter 25, verse 25. The first to come out was red, and his whole body was like a hairy garment, so they named him Esau. Jacob, on the other hand, is born grasping Esau's heel, a symbolic act that foreshadows the future struggles between the brothers. His name, Jacob, is derived from the Hebrew word for heel or to supplant, hinting at his future role in the unfolding of God's plan. Unlike his brother, Jacob is described as a quiet man who stays among the tents, which indicates a more settled domestic lifestyle. Genesis chapter 25, verse 26. After this, his brother came out, with his hand grasping Esau's heel, so he was named Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when Rebekah gave birth to them. The contrast between Esau and Jacob extends beyond their physical and lifestyle differences. It is also reflected in their relationships with their parents. Isaac, who favors Esau, is drawn to his firstborn's ruggedness and his ability to provide wild game. Esau's hunting skills and the wild game he brings home create a bond between him and his father, who has a taste for this kind of food. Genesis chapter 25. verses 27 to 28. The boys grew up, and Esau became a skillful hunter, a man of the open country, while Jacob was content to stay at home among the tents. Isaac, who had a taste for wild game, loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Rebekah, however, loves Jacob. Her affection for Jacob is often interpreted as an alignment with God's earlier prophecy that the older would serve the younger. This favoritism within the family would later become a source of significant conflict, leading to deception, rivalry, and ultimately the fulfillment of God's plan in ways that defied human expectation. The dynamics between Esau and Jacob, as well as the favoritism shown by their parents, set the stage for the future struggles between the brothers. The tension between the twins can be seen as part of a larger biblical theme of sibling rivalry, which appears throughout the Bible, from Cain and Abel to Joseph and his brothers. In each case, God's purposes are ultimately fulfilled, even through human conflict and sin. The struggle between Esau and Jacob is also symbolic of the tension between the flesh and the spirit. Esau, who is impulsive and driven by his physical desires, contrasts with Jacob, who is more reflective and cunning. This contrast is highlighted in a later episode when Esau sells his birthright to Jacob for a bowl of stew, a decision that reflects his lack of regard for spiritual matters in favor of immediate physical satisfaction. Hebrews chapter 12 verse 16, see that no one is sexually immoral or is godless like Esau, who for a single meal sold his inheritance rights as the oldest son. Esau's decision to sell his birthright is a turning point in the narrative. It reveals the deeper spiritual implications of the choices made by both brothers. Esau's disregard for his birthright contrasts sharply with Jacob's desire to secure it, even if through deceit. This event foreshadows the later conflict over Isaac's blessing, which further drives a wedge between the brothers. The favoritism shown by Isaac and Rebekah also serves as a reminder of the dangers of parental partiality. The Bible consistently shows that favoritism leads to discord and division within families. Jacob, who himself was favored by his mother, would later face the consequences of favoritism in his own family, particularly in his relationship with his sons Joseph and Benjamin. James chapter 2 verse 9. But if you show favoritism, you sin and are convicted by the law as lawbreakers. The birth of Esau and Jacob and the subsequent favoritism shown by their parents are not just historical events, but are rich with spiritual lessons. They highlight the complex interplay of human choice, divine sovereignty, and the consequences of sin. Rebekah's love for Jacob, while aligning with God's plan, also sets in motion a series of events that would lead to deception and estrangement, reminding us of the far-reaching impact of our actions and decisions. As Isaac grows old and his eyesight begins to fail, he recognizes the need to pass on the patriarchal blessing to his firstborn son Esau. In the culture of the time, this blessing was more than just words. It was a formal transfer of leadership, inheritance, and God's favor to the next generation. However, Isaac's intent to bless Esau, despite God's earlier prophecy that the older will serve the younger, sets the stage for a significant and controversial intervention by Rebekah. Genesis chapter 27 verse 1 to 4. When Isaac was old and his eyes were so weak that he could no longer see, he called for Esau his older son and said to him, "My son." "Here I am," he answered. Isaac said, "I am now an old man and don't know the day of my death. Now then, get your equipment, your quiver and bow, and go out to the open country to hunt some wild game for me. Prepare me the kind of tasty food I like and bring it to me to eat, so that I may give you my blessing before I die." Isaac's plan to bless Esau is based on his love for his firstborn and his fondness for the wild game that Esau hunts. However, Rebekah, who overhears this conversation, remembers the prophecy given to her during her pregnancy that the older would serve the younger. She is determined to see God's promise fulfilled, even if it means resorting to deception. Genesis chapter 27 verses 5 to 10. Now Rebekah was listening as Isaac spoke to his son Esau. When Esau left for the open country to hunt game and bring it back, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "Look, I overheard your father say to your brother Esau, Bring me some game and prepare me some tasty food to eat, so that I may give you my blessing in the presence of the Lord before I die. Now, my son, listen carefully and do what I tell you. Go out to the flock and bring me 2 choice young goats, so I can prepare some tasty food for your father, just the way he likes it. Then take it to your father to eat, so that he may give you his blessing before he dies." Rebekah's actions, though ethically questionable, demonstrate her unwavering belief in the divine prophecy. She is willing to go to great lengths to ensure that Jacob, not Esau, receives the blessing. This decision reflects her strong conviction that God's plan must be fulfilled, even if it requires human intervention. Rebekah's determination is reminiscent of other biblical figures who acted boldly in response to God's promises, such as Rahab in the book of Joshua, or the midwives in Exodus who defied Pharaoh's orders to kill Hebrew boys. Rebekah's plan involves a calculated deception. She prepares the meal Isaac requested and dresses Jacob in Esau's clothing, even covering his smooth skin with goat skins to mimic Esau's hairy body. Jacob, under his mother's guidance, approaches Isaac with the food, pretending to be Esau. Genesis chapter 27 verses 18 to 19. He went to his father and said, "My father." "Yes, my son," he answered. "Who is it?" Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Please sit up and eat some of my game, so that you may give me your blessing." Isaac, though suspicious at first, is ultimately convinced by the smell of Esau's clothing and the feel of the goat skins. He proceeds to bless Jacob, thinking he is blessing Esau. Genesis chapter 27 verses 27 to 29. So he went to him and kissed him. When Isaac caught the smell of his clothes, he blessed him and said, "Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field that the Lord has blessed. May God give you heaven's dew and earth's richness, an abundance of grain and new wine. May nations serve you and peoples bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers, and may the sons of your mother bow down to you. May those who curse you be cursed, and those who bless you be blessed." This blessing is comprehensive and powerful, conferring upon Jacob the leadership of the family, material prosperity, and dominion over his brothers. However, this act of deception creates a deep rift in the family. When Esau returns and discovers that Jacob has taken his blessing, he is devastated and furious. Genesis chapter 27 verse 34. When Esau heard his father's words, he burst out with a loud and bitter cry and said to his father, "Bless me." "Me too, my father." Esau's cry reflects the profound sense of loss he feels, not just of the blessing itself, but of the favor and position it represented. Isaac, now aware of the deception, is shaken but confirms that the blessing stands, as it was given with divine authority. Genesis chapter 27 verse 37. Isaac answered Esau, "I have made him lord over you, and have made all his relatives his servants, and I have sustained him with grain and new wine. So what can I possibly do for you, my son?" The fallout from this event is severe. Esau vows to kill Jacob once their father dies, forcing Jacob to flee to Rebekah's brother Laban in Haran. This flight not only separates Jacob from his family, but also from the promised land, the land where God's covenant was to be fulfilled. Genesis chapter 27 verses 41 to 43. Esau held a grudge against Jacob because of the blessing his father had given him. He said to himself, "The days of mourning for my father are near, then I will kill my brother Jacob." When Rebekah was told what her older son Esau had said, she sent for her younger son Jacob and said to him, "Your brother Esau is planning to avenge himself by killing you. Now then, my son, do what I say, flee at once to my brother Laban in Haran." Rebekah's actions, while ensuring that God's prophecy is fulfilled, also result in profound personal loss. She sends Jacob away, knowing that she may never see him again. The consequences of her deception ripple through the family, leading to years of estrangement and conflict. This story highlights the complex interplay between divine sovereignty and human agency. Rebekah's determination to see God's will fulfilled demonstrates her faith, but it also shows the ethical dilemmas that can arise when human beings take matters into their own hands. While God's plan is ultimately fulfilled, it comes at a significant cost to the family's unity and peace. The story also serves as a reminder that God's purposes will be accomplished, sometimes in ways that challenge our understanding of morality and justice. Jacob, despite his deceptive actions, is chosen by God to continue the covenantal line, leading to the birth of the 12 tribes of Israel. Romans chapter 9 verses 10 to 13. Not only that, but Rebekah's children were conceived at the same time by our father Isaac. Yet before the twins were born or had done anything good or bad, in order that God's purpose in election might stand, not by works, but by him who calls. She was told, "The older will serve the younger." Just as it is written, "Jacob I loved, but Esau I hated." This passage from Romans reflects on the mystery of God's election, emphasizing that his choices are not based on human actions, but on his sovereign will. Rebekah's role in this narrative, while controversial, is integral to the unfolding of God's redemptive plan. Rebekah's life is a profound testament to the impact that one individual's faith, determination, and obedience can have on the course of history. Unlike many women of her time, Rebekah was not a passive figure in the biblical narrative. She was an active participant in the unfolding of God's plan, making bold decisions that, while controversial, were instrumental in fulfilling the promises God made to Abraham. From the moment Rebekah was chosen as Isaac's wife, she was set on a path that would shape the future of Israel. Her life was marked by a series of pivotal moments where her actions directly influenced the fulfillment of God's covenant. The most significant of these was her intervention in securing the blessing for Jacob, ensuring that the prophecy she received during her pregnancy, that the older will serve the younger, was fulfilled. Rebekah's legacy is also evident in her role as the mother of Jacob, who would later be named Israel and become the father of the 12 tribes. Through Jacob, the promises made to Abraham were passed down, and the nation of Israel was established. This lineage would eventually lead to the birth of Jesus Christ, the fulfillment of God's ultimate promise of redemption for humanity. Rebekah's life, however, was not without its challenges and complexities. The conflict she helped to create between Esau and Jacob had lasting repercussions. The rift between the brothers led to Jacob fleeing to Haran and being separated from his family for many years. Yet, even in these trials, God's sovereignty was at work. The experiences Jacob went through during his time with Laban were crucial in shaping his character and preparing him to become the patriarch of Israel. In conclusion, Rebekah's journey from the wells of Haran to becoming the matriarch of Israel is a powerful story of faith, courage, and divine purpose. Her life was far from perfect, and she faced many challenges, but her story is a testament to how God works through the lives of those who trust Him. Thank you for joining us today in exploring the life of Rebekah. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more biblical stories and insights. Until next time, stay blessed and keep seeking wisdom through the Word of God.